In 1956, American psychologist George A. Miller is one of the main theorists for the information processing theory. He believed that the mind receives the stimulus, processes it, stores it, locates it, and then responds to it. Other theorists include Atkinson and Striffen, which came up with the Stage 3 model, which represents sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. So other theorists that contributed to the information processing theory are Craig and Lockhart. They came up with why we remember some things better than others. So they came up with two types. Type 1 is maintenance, type 2 is elaborate. Type 1 is when you're thinking about it over and over or you're verbalizing it. Type 2 is when you give a deeper consideration of the material and you relate it to something that's happened in your life.
Short-term memory is temporary. It can last about 15 to 20 seconds, but whenever it's recalled, it lasts about 20 minutes. Short-term memory consists of many different types of organizations, but the major ones are component, sequence, relevant, and transitional. Long-term memory is permanently stored and can be retrieved whenever needed to. The reason why we have long-term memory is because whenever we receive information in short-term memory, it is being encoded to the existing knowledge that we have and then being transferred through two processes called elaboration and distributed practice.
So I'm here to tell you about the story about Jessica. Jessica is a 16-year-old girl and she went to go visit her grandmother.
Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Jessica.
How are you?
So how has school been?
School's great. Classes are going great. I think I'm gonna pass all my AP classes.
Really?
Yeah.
College is approaching.
Yes, soon.
Just remember, when times get hard, all you have to do is believe in yourself and follow your dreams.
So this is the first stage. Jessica was attending and actually being there in the moment. She was paying very close attention to her grandma and making sure that those words stuck in her mind. And when we attend, we are preparing ourselves to receive this new information. The second stage is where she starts to encode it. If she wasn't paying attention to her grandma or listening at all, she wouldn't have encoded the information. But since she did, she's encoding that and transferring it to long-term memory. The third stage is storing, and this is when she gets that memory of her grandmother's words and stores it in long-term memory, and it's gonna be there and be ready for her to retrieve it in the future when she needs it.
Hey, are you excited about graduating?
Not really. I'm really stressed out. I've been stressing out for the past 24 hours. I've been crying. I don't even know what to do. I'm scared I'm not gonna get into med school. There's like a lot going on.
I'll get back to you. I really have to get this up.
Just remember, when times get hard, all you have to do is believe in yourself and follow your dreams.
You know what? I think I got this. You know what? I can't give up. I can't give up.
The final stage is retrieving. Jessica was going through a tough time in college, but then she retrieved those words from her grandmother, which motivated her to want to keep pushing herself and keep doing what she wants to do. Between the ages of 2 to 5, most children have developed skills that allows them to focus for an extended period of time, and they can also recognize previously encountered information and recall it in the present. And between the ages of 2 to 5 is when you start to develop long-term memory. And this is why most people can't remember anything before 3 years old. So starting ages 5 to 7, children learn how to focus and use their cognitive abilities for specific purposes. During this stage, children also develop a larger capacity to process information. And because they can process a larger capacity, they're able to make connections between old and new information. For example, children can use the letters that they know from the alphabet and the sounds that they make to start making connections on how to read a word and how to read a book. Metacognition is also another very important skill that children need to develop, and that is the ability to think about thinking. And between the ages 2 to 5, children start to develop this, so they understand that they can use their brain to think, but they don't really understand how the brain works. But by ages 5 to 7, children realize that they can actively control the brain and they can influence their ability to process and complete mental tasks.
That's all, folks.